Hi, my name is Carol Gaucher, and I'm the CEO of Teach Transform. We've created a STAAR resource, a free STAAR resource for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that I want to share with you. In addition to writing activities for you guys to use, I also work as a math coach at a middle school in Austin ISD a couple of days a week. Like everybody else across the state, we've identified which students, we're getting ready for STAAR, and we've identified which students are going to need extra support, and we know which TEKs they're going to need extra support on. What we're figuring out now is what resources we're going to use. And so I wanted to create a resource that did a couple of things. First of all, I wanted the resource to not merely let students practice for STAAR, but also help them learn to read a STAAR problem and let the problem tell them what to do. I wanted them to recognize the triggers in the problem that tell them how to solve it. So that's one thing I wanted it to do. The other thing is the activities needed to be able to be used in small groups with students working in small groups together or with a teacher working with small groups. And so I created these resources and I'm going to share them with you. There is one for each readiness standard in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It doesn't take a lot of materials. You need to download the activity. Your students will need highlighters. They'll need the STAAR reference sheet for their grade. 8th graders, will, of course, will need calculators, and any special ed students will need whatever supports they're allowed to use on the STAAR. So let's look at one of the activities. What you're looking at here is the STAAR practice for 6.4b ratios and rates. For this particular student expectation, I decided that there needed to be two different activities. This is part 2. These problems are very similar to each other, and the problems in part 1 are very similar to each other. So you can see there's two sheets, and this is true for all of the activities. There's STAAR problems on one page, and then there's the actual activity, the analysis of the STAAR problems on the other page. Every one of the activities has either 2 or 3 STAAR problems. So this particular one is fairly typical. It says read the question, highlight the words that are the same in all 3 questions. And so you can see I've already highlighted them and the words are at this rate. And then I ask the students to dig down. What does at this rate mean? So after the students work together to write what that means, then in this particular case, I have them fill out the proportions for each one of these problems. I give them the labels and just have them fill in the numbers. Then students solve the problems and then they bubble the answer grid in for each problem. We included as many answer grids as we could because we know that those are problematic for students. In this case, only problem number 1 and number 3 actually the question asked the students to fill in a bubble grid, but we went ahead and included a bubble grid for number 2 also, just for a little bit more practice. I would also encourage you to bubble in a grid yourself if you haven't done that in a while. I hadn't done that in a while, and when I filled in these answers, I had to stop and think where the decimal point was and then back up to write the 320 and then fill in the bubbles. It'll help you understand why it's kind of hard for students to do this, to do that, filling in the bubbles. So if you haven't done that by hand yourself in a while, go ahead and challenge yourself and do that. This particular activity is fairly typical. All of them are 2 pages with the problems on one side, the analysis on the other side. So that's an example of one of the free resources that we've created for you for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade STAAR Prep. They're located on the Teach Transform website under the free resources. Download them, use them, share them within your district and with your friends in other districts. Please know that I was writing as fast as possible because my school was going to need the resources and I figured that you were too. So if you find a mistake, just let me know and I'll be happy to fix it. Our goal at Teach Transform is to make teaching and learning math easier and more fun without sacrificing the beauty and the depth of mathematics. We hope that this STAAR resource meets that goal and that it increases your students' problem attack skills and helps them on STAAR. If you have any questions, please give me a call or email me. My phone number and email are below. Thank you so much. Bye.